we're back with another episode of Lunch and Learn. I'm Brittany.
I'm Alex.
And what are you eating over there, Alex? What's for lunch?
Okay, guys, don't be surprised. I've got carrots, but I have some roasted carrots because it's just a super easy vegetable. I made a different carb today. I did some instant grits. I know this sounds really weird, but it's super simple. Just boil some water, throw the grits in, and then you got yourself an easy carb. And then some ground turkey in my bowl. So a nice balance of protein, carbs, and veggies.
Super nice.
Yeah, what you got?
So it is actually a little after lunchtime over here on the East Coast. So this is actually a snack for me, but I've got my Icelandic skier yogurt.
Ooh.
This is a new flavor. It's raspberry, which I've never tried before. So we're going to
Mm-hmm.
try it live, ready to go. This might be more information than everyone needs, but like regular yogurt does not sit super well with my stomach. But I mean, this definitely is dairy, but for whatever reason, it works for me. So here we are. So those of y'all who have never tried Icelandic yogurt, it's great. Macros, if anyone cares, 2 fat, 14 carb, and 15 protein. So it's perfect,
Oh,
nice and
it's a
balanced.
perfect snack. Yeah.
Yep,
And that
good to
that
go.
brand actually just like popped up on some of my medias of something today. So I actually saw that brand. I think they have a new flavor like key lime or something. So I think I need to look for it.
I've had that flavor. I really like it. There's a coconut flavor that's great. I even just like the plain. Sometimes I'll put it in smoothies. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Yeah, and you
Um,
can put this is totally off topic, but you can like bake with Greek yogurt. You can use it in so many different recipes to save a ton of fat calories. So don't discount Greek yogurt.
yeah, maybe we'll tag these guys. They'll sponsor us. That'd be great. Um,
Yeah.
all right. So this is a topic. We were talking about this with some of our fellow coaches earlier this morning, and it got the blood boiling a little bit with some
Mm.
coaches. So this is going to be an interesting one. So we are going to talk all about calorie burn and fitness trackers, wearable technology, and all of the things. I know kind of this sort of has died down a little bit, I feel like, with my clients, but maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, this was like really a hot button topic. But Alex, what do you think about it? Like, how accurate do you feel like fitness trackers are? Um, how do you tackle this with your clients when they are really like glued to it? Like when they are like, my Apple Watch says I burned this, or my Garmin says this. Um,
Mm-hmm.
how do you handle that?
Well, first things first, I am a wearable user. I have two of them. So one's to help me tell the time and like a GPS, and the other one to help with like tracking other things. So I'm not over here trying to be a hypocrite. I'm wearing them myself. I use them, that type of thing. But in general, my opinion, even with myself, is and what I tell my clients is that there is a error of estimate that comes with these wearables. Unless you're in a laboratory setting and you're hooked up to a bunch of different devices or in a very controlled calorie burn. I mean, there's a scientific name for this, but if you're not in a laboratory setting, you will never really truly know how many calories you're burning, no matter if it's the highest level watch that you can possibly find and it costs you thousands of dollars and they claim, all these different things, they're not going to be 100% accurate. There is going to be a level of error. But what we can utilize these watches for is to track trends over time, like to help you see, well, how many calories are you actually burning in a day? Does that change if you're doing a certain type of activity, like going for a walk versus weightlifting? Does it change with your standing versus sitting? And maybe that helps guide you to make some different changes in your everyday life. Like, oh, maybe going for a walk helps me actually burn a few more calories in my 1 hour CrossFit class. And I am looking to lose some weight, so I know to incorporate those type of things. But yeah, my general consensus is an estimate, but we can utilize those estimates to then make future decisions on activity, those type of things. At least, yeah, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And think that's the main thing to keep in mind is that it is an estimate,
Mm-hmm.
and not to get tied to the number of, you know, I'm just going to throw out arbitrary numbers here of like my daily calories are 1,800 calories and I ate 2,000 calories. So that means I need to go to the gym and make sure the treadmill says that I burned over, 200 calories to equal it out. Those are all big estimates, so you have to make sure that we're just taking this with a grain of salt, that what these wearable technologies are telling us are estimates. So they can be used to curb habits, but they shouldn't be used as absolutes.
Yeah, I can actually vouch on that because like both of these wearables tell me I burn a certain amount of calories, and it's actually way lower than the amount of calories that I consume on a daily basis. And I know this because I do track my food, and those numbers have never matched up. But yet I'm not gaining a significant amount of weight eating over what these watches tell me that I'm burning. So that's just a great example of, hey, sometimes these wearables are not accurate. But what I do is I just make sure that on average I'm keeping up with a an average amount of calories burned or amount of steps or things like that. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's such a good point. Like, we know that what we're putting into our body is accurate.
Mm-hmm.
So, if we know that that side of the equation is correct, we can then use that data on the other end. Even though if we know that that part is an estimate, we can still use that data for some positives. Yeah, and like some things that I've seen, at least from my clients, that are on the positive side, we can use it for some really positive behavior change. Like I know, at least if I have my Apple Watch on, I am much more likely to move. I like to see those rings close. I like
Yes.
to see things. Um, it's like it gamifies it, right? Like we like it.
Mm-hmm.
We like to see positive reinforcement. Um, the steps add up. It's a good thing. So even if we're not paying attention to the calories burned, or if we know that those are rough estimates, it's still nice to see that, like, hey, we're moving more, even though
Yeah.
we may know that it's not completely an accurate calorie number. Um, how are some other ways you've seen like clients use that as positive feedback, or that you use it for clients as a positive feedback?
The watches and the wearables.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's the watches and wearables now are way advanced. And like when I first got mine, I used it more for tracking steps. I wanted to see how many steps I was taking. I just recently got a job at Working Against Gravity, and I had moved into a desk position, and I was like, I don't feel like I'm walking as much. So just like you, utilizing that to help you move a little bit more throughout the day, because it can be so easy. You're on the computer, and then all of a sudden 3 hours just went by and you hadn't moved at all. So that just helps me stay accountable that way. Some things that I have encouraged my clients to utilize with these watches and the wearables is to maybe utilize it for more of a recovery or a sleep aspect, because a lot of these things do track the sleep. Again, it is an estimate. It is just not going to be an absolute, but it can at least track trends. Are you only sleeping 4 hours a night? Well, hey, that's an opportunity for us to improve your sleep. And without the wearable, you might think that you're sleeping 8 hours a night, but you might be awake for some of that time. So you're not really getting in all the sleep that you could be getting in. So that's a way. I know a lot of watches will have different challenges, or you can join different groups. I know the Apple Watch, you can easily find someone to do a challenge with you and challenge them to, hey, let's hit a certain step goal, or hey, let's focus on sleep, different things like that. So that could be a great way. I know the Whoop has different communities, and you can rank yourself on recovery and things like that. And it's fun to be in some kind of group community, keeping yourself accountable. And, yeah, sorry, I keep losing my train of thought because my cat is being a cat and getting
No.
into everything. She's been super lazy the past week. And then the moment I start doing this, She's into to mischief. So sorry, guys, if I seem distracted.
No, that's totally like, I think it's the same thing. Like you can use these without being tied to that specific calorie burn number.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think another question that we kind of toyed around with this morning was thinking about, what if we have someone come in or we're working with a client that has a lot of data, like maybe they're using, like you have worn a wearable for a really long time, and has a lot of data with, their workouts or, just with daily life. Maybe they've said, hey, I know my steps for years, or I know my calorie burn for years. How much do we take that into consideration when we're setting up their program? What do you think?
Ooh,
Like, what's your thoughts on that?
I actually do utilize some of that information, and sometimes I ask people to provide any data that you can, because it does help me see how many calories that you're burning throughout the day on average, like on an estimate. If you just tell me, hey, I'm going to an hour cross or an hour workout class every single day, well, that doesn't really tell me how much that you're burning on the other 23 hours of the day, or what you're doing the other 23 hours. Are you walking your dog? Do you have a really busy job where you're working at like in a warehouse where you're constantly moving and grabbing the boxes and different things like that? Are you going home and playing with your kids, outside, different things like that? So when somebody can provide me with that kind of data that, hey, I'm walking 15,000 steps a day, I go to this class and this class and burn this, and I can utilize that information to be like, okay, this is kind of where we need to start. But again, that's just a starting place. It's just an estimate, and then from based off of other body data week to week, I can then make adjustments. So it's more of just kind of helps me estimate and then,
Yeah,
kind of go from there. So it's an estimating tool to set some estimates.
yeah, agreed. And you touched on something that's so important. Like one of the things that I learned, and it's funny, like I tell clients this all the time, but it's something that wearable technology helped reinforce for me was I found that I was burning so many more calories and got so much more out of daily acts of living than I did out of
Mm-hmm.
that hour in the gym. I will have clients so many times say, "Oh, I can't get to the gym. I'm going to lose progress. I'm going to, the world's ending. All of these really terrible things are happening because they can't get to the gym." And I will continually say, don't underestimate the ability, the good things that can happen just from standing. Stand up,
Mm-hmm.
move, walk. I would get so much higher of a calorie burn from moving around, doing yard work, getting out, doing things, jumping on the trampoline with my kids. My strain on my whoop and just general calorie burn, my heart rate would go through the roof from doing yard work. I would get more strain from that than a really challenging 40-minute Metcon that would wreck me. My
Mm-hmm.
central nervous system would be destroyed, but my calorie burn and what my body really experienced would be much higher just from daily
Yeah.
acts of living. So, that's kind of the takeaway that I really want people to see is that you don't, yes, there is obviously great things that happen in the gym. And we talked about that a few episodes back as far as building skill and building lean muscle mass. That's very important. And I don't want to take away from that, of course, but like, don't underestimate the power of walking, standing,
Yes.
doing all the things that our body is built for, especially those of us that have a desk job and we're in front of screens all day. That's not what our body's built for. Get up and move,
Yeah.
stand, do all the things that the human body is built for. Because if you want to be fit and you want to live a long time, there's that motion is lotion. Like you have to move. It's
Yes.
important. Yeah. And we overthink it sometimes and think we need all this fancy equipment and we need all these gym memberships. Just stand, move.
Yeah.
Like
Just
it's,
stand, do some chores, go outside, move around. Yeah, I completely agree with you. Anytime on the weekends, my calorie burn is way more, but I'm not necessarily spending hours in the gym. I still do the same amount of work, but I'm cleaning my house. I am working on some things that I've been putting off, like that requires me to not be in front of a computer or things like that. And I end up having the highest strain for the day or the most calorie burn. And it's just, we tend to forget about, what walking can do. But if you just do that, you stand, you move around, you can actually gain so much. And maybe that will help you reach your next goal of those next 5 pounds or, different things like that.
Yep, totally. Yeah, the gym's not for fat loss. It's behavior
No,
changes where you get fat loss. Totally.
agreed.
Yep.
And so that just confirms you can't really out exercise your diet. So just focusing on moving around and balancing it with your nutrition can make a huge difference.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, with that, we're going to wrap it up. And we will see you next week when we are going to be talking all about alcohol. Um,
Ooh, a fun
yeah,
one.
yeah. We will be sober chatting about alcohol.
It's
So
not
we'll
five
see you.
o'clock here.
Yeah. Well,